Hello, it's Angèle. December 30th, I had to look there. Oh, 2024. Here I am. It's like quarter to two in the afternoon. I'm still drinking my coffee. I did, I'm just I want to give a little context. This video is called Reactions of a Wicked Good Life. Reactions of a Wicked Good Life. This feels like my creation, this coffee cup, because can you see in there? Crackle paint. Crackle paint. Anyways, I made this at Crankpots. Auntie went with my niece Naomi many years ago. She was in Girl Guides and went to Crankpots, where you pick out, a plain thing and then you paint it up and then they bake it for you. So I really like this cup. This is kind of my favorite cup, I guess. It kind of has special meaning. And I guess I went against the rules. They told the girls they couldn't have crackle paint, but when I knew crackle paint existed, I'm like, I need crackle paint. And they always, Auntie, you're not supposed to use crackle paint. I'm like, shh. But anyway, Auntie has really enjoyed the crackle paint ever since. Like I couldn't allow the rule that for the girls in the program, they weren't allowed to use crackle paint because it costed more. And I would have paid more for my niece to have everything she wanted to. But anyway, there has to be parameters. Anyways, little auntie tries to go and give a hand and goes against the rules because I also had to pay extra for this cup. They had a more plain one, and I just like the ribbing and the little purple heart on there. Ooh, ooh, I didn't think this was going to go like this. But anyway, reactions of a wicked good life. Context, context, context. I want to say that again. I really think this is missing ingredient in a lot of our public conversations in this world right now. Context, context, context. I want to give you a little bit of context to today. Why did Angèle not drink her full cup of coffee yet? Well, she slept in for one till I was really kind of shocked. You're like 10:20? What? I was a little surprised by that. And I think I went to bed at 1. I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of sleep I just got. But here, let me share. I'm just going to show you some context because, share screen. And I've got things lined up here today. We'll get make it bigger. I'm going to be reacting to Evil Doesn't Exist, but Entities Do by RJ Spina, a short, I guess it's an 8-minute video. I'm going to show you a couple clips and give you my reaction to the context, 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 context. I don't want to say, anyway, Stefan Burns. Let's look at his channel. I really enjoy being a subscriber to his channel. Earth, Sun, Spirit, Stefan Burns. I cover space weather, planetary alignments, and geophysical energetic events so we may, all better understand the quality of the energies of the solar system and the Earth. I believe this helps in the spiritual and consciousness evolution journey. And I also discuss health and wellness topics like earthing and grounding and cell products to help everyone to stay healthy, happy, aligned on their soul mission. It's all about resonance. Yeah, I'd never read that before. So one thing I will share with you is that the last video I made 2 days ago, and it was called Optimal Health DIY. Well, that video, I kind of kept it deadpan, but I was just like, whoa, 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 I can't believe all this. I will just make one note if anyone had happened to have the patience to watch an hour 40-minute plus video length, but at one point I say, ooh, it gets political. Right in that moment, because I was so in flow, I just want to make notice of this because for me it was kind of a new observance of myself, my divine impatience, my divine impatience. I'm going to call it that. I'm relating to Gene Key 58, where he talked about divine discontent, divine dissatisfaction. Being dissatisfied is not a bad thing. Like context, context, context. You got to know your context, context, context. You got to know your context, context, context. How much do you know about your context, context, context? So anyways, the context. Yeah, so in that moment, like I literally was wanting to go skating. It was sunny, it was warm, and I knew it was about to be cold. So now it's like -10 and oh, I can still go skating. You just have to wear a different jacket, a little bit warmer this, warmer that. Like I still haven't gone. I didn't end up going that day. with all my impatience, I was just like chung 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 flying thing, and I wasn't pre-screening things. I'm just like, but I'm starting to recognize that's actually a style. And I mean, I've been practicing for 10 years. And I notice, like in my own curation of life, I talk about curation of life, curation where you put your intention and attention. And at some point, I started to get like, it doesn't even surprise me anymore because it's like, wow, well, wow, 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 a miracle in every moment. When I talked about a miracle in every moment, you could call it delight. Often, 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 often in the context of Angèle Baudouin, Angèle Claudette Baudouin, I'm often delighted. And people might say, oh, she's in such a good mood. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. So I'm kind of used to it. And it's interesting because Matt Kahn really helped me with that. I went to 2 live retreats with Matt Kahn. First one, it's like great. They were in Portland, Oregon. I don't remember so much about the first one. I'm just like, okay, I don't think I'll ever go to retreat again. I said to myself, like, there's something about retreats that, like, when I feel called to go, I go. And then when I get there, I'm like, what the frick am I doing here? But in that second one, particularly, my divine impatience, my divine discontent, I'm kind of like, okay, I'm here. Like, what? Why am I here? Like, what? And I remember getting just so bored. I'm like, no, my eyes are rolling. And I can literally remember, I remember to make it fun for myself, I rented oh my goodness, why am I being so talkative? I guess I am talkative. I'm going to stop share. I rented a Ford Mustang. I just thought, I'm going to have fun in Portland. Or you fly into Portland, and it was maybe it was a 35-minute drive. So I had this Mustang. I thought, okay. I said to them, give me the most sporty option I can get. And I was really hoping for, like, come on, I'm going to spend my money. I'm going to have a fun car experience. So the best match that seemed to be there that day, because I was changing my mind or kind of changing the plan in the fly. I'm just being silly. Oh, what's the best? And the guy was like really vibing with me. He's like, oh yeah, let's see what we got. And Ford Mustang. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll take that. And I can't remember if I paid more or whatever. I don't even remember. But in the end, I have to tell you, I am not a fan of the Ford Mustang. It had such poor visibility on your shoulder checks at tiny, like just, I'm just like, what? What? It's not, I think at the time I was driving my Volvo XC90. I didn't have, so I had big, good visibility. And then I'm like, oh my God, I really got to be aware because my visibility on my blind spots were, I thought, quite poor. Tiny little window. That's what I remember. But anyways, boom, boom, boom. I was, and then you get to wherever he had the retreat. It was very mossy. Mossy. I just remember feeling like I'm in Ireland or something. Like, so obviously he's consciously chosen this retreat place. And I drive in, do my parking. Like, I guess I'm just, this is so funny. This is not the plan. Anyways, I remember meeting a Dave. I met a Dave who was helping people to park and keep the parking lot nice because whatever, you were allowed to park here, you weren't allowed to park there. So they had a human to tell you here, park here. And his name's Dave. He was probably one of the few people that I had a good rapport with. And I really was attracted to him, even like Sparky. And he was married. And they shortly thereafter were not married. But anyways, and then it reminds me of these are the Daves I know, these are the Daves I know. So I'm just entertaining myself constantly. I don't say it out loud, but in my mind, I'm like, oh, Dave, these are the Daves I know. And I actually was playing the dating game back then. I think I was dating Mr. Brazil, or I thought I was. Anyways, there were some explorations going on with Mr. Brazil, but I was the other woman. I've often been the other woman. But there was a Dave who was in my dating game at that time. Also the other woman. In the end, quickly became the other woman again. It's like, I never realized these things. I don't plan it. But being the other woman, long ago, I made a statement. I'd rather be the mistress than the wife. Be mindful of the things that you say. I'd rather be the mistress than the wife. I literally used to say that to myself on a semi-regular basis. I mean, I was a monogamously married person and connected person for 22 years, 6 years dating, 16 years married. So monogamy, I can do that, no problem. But somehow it's not uncommon that monogamy doesn't work for everybody. So anyway, I am really surprised that that's coming out. But what was I going to say? Why was I getting to this? Oh yeah, I guess just the MatCon. I was just kind of bored and like rolling my eyes and like I'm leaving. So like I just went out and queued up a tune, and I remember being quite like, whoa, like a tune that I don't remember ever even putting there. I'm like, what? It was, can't remember what it was. It was hard rock, and it was seemed to be the perfect song for that moment. And I'm like, it was on my iTunes back before Spotify. I'm like, what? Where did this song come from? Like, it really felt like it landed there. But anyway, so it's just delight, delight, delight can be every minute. But actually, one thing I guess I'm getting to, oh, why am I saying this? I think I'm not going to worry about finding whatever that was. But Matt Kahn actually recently, in the last year or maybe just over a year, he married Joy. He married Joy, and that delighted me. And faith. My son is exploring faith. I just have fun with these kinds of things. I'm recording. What am I trying to do? I am trying to share screen because I was showing you Stefan Burns, the context of today, the context of today. So this video here, 23 hours ago, energy explosion happening now, 1.11 x flare. So I keep an eye on the, let's just see, is there anything interesting? Oh, it looks like that's how far I got. Let's see how, what did he say at the beginning?
The sun is going crazy right now. We have huge energy increases. Apparently, the sun is going crazy right now. We have huge energy increases apparently in the Schumann resonances. And so we're going to look at everything in today's video. I'll give you my best interpretation and breakdown as to what. And there is data that shows that the occurrence of geomagnetic disturbances is lowest on the full moon, on the new moon. And so it is interesting that right now we have this huge amount of energy being pumped off the sun. The sun is just losing it. Yet, typically, across long data sets, we have the least amount of geomagnetic disturbance on a new moon. So it's going to be interesting to see how those two kind of work together, like how they mediate each other, because
Okay, I'm just going to show you something. I just learned a new thing. I can do this to find things easier. He showed a diagram. Wait a minute. Where was I? No, it was right around here. Where's that diagram? Oh, maybe he showed it later. Ooh, not that one, not that one. Oh, I even took a screenshot of it. Oh. There is a specific one I'm looking for. And this is a complete surprise to me. I wasn't planning on doing this, and I'm in the right now. Right now, what do you call it? Shoot, where is that? Yeah, maybe it was later. I like his shirt. That is an awesome, epic shirt. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, I guess we're just going to find it. Was it here? No, it was something like that. Talking about. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh yeah, so there's just so many charts. I can't find the one I'm looking for. But anyways, I think I will explain it to you. It was basically looking at the new moon, like looking over about 50 years of data, how he's talking about how the moon, okay, I will stop the share. The moon, the new moon, like the fact is it's a new moon because the moon is between the sun and the earth. Let's just have fun. Here's my little obsidian dragon, how to tame your dragon. What's his name? Toothless. This is Toothless. Uh, let's use this. So, and then my coffee cup. Yeah, let's say my coffee cup is the moon, the earth is this, and this is Toothless. So generally that moon is a shield. The new moon is a shield. Like all this stuff is coming off the moon or the sun, and then the moon is in the way. So new moons have a markedly, barely anything. So today is the new moon, December 30th. And I just kind of got that really caught my attention. Like, oh, so something different happening right now, huh? How does that work? If the moon has, for decades and decades and decades, generally you would never get big, what do you call them, geomagnetic storms. And so we'll see if we get one today or not. But anyways, I just thought I'd draw your attention. Number one, I love the channel, Stefan Burns, because I think he's modeling. He created his own career. He created his own career in a new way that, like mainstream news. Remember, we used to have the weatherman. So he kind of has that weatherman style. He's got stuff and he's pointing and yet now he's this, how did he describe himself? I thought that was pretty good. I never really noticed that until just now. Where was it? If we go, oh, yeah, my Zoom bar seems to always be in the way, but let's just do that. Yeah, I cover space weather planetary alignments, and now he has 143K subscribers. I have no idea what kind of money stream that might make, but he also sells some products. They're really cool. And anyways, I like that guy. He made his own career, and I think that's a great example. Well, let's not get too bumbly. I'm already humbly bumbly enough. Let's not go any further. But I woke up, and this was the first video I took a peek at, and I liked it so much. I showed it. My son is here with me this week, so I showed it to him. And I'm going to do a reaction of a couple different points. I will share a little bit of it, not all of it.
In terms of channeling about these higher forces. And I'd love to hear your perspective on just, it's almost hard to believe there's not when you look around. Is there not an actual force of evil or Satan or something? Because even, there's some ideas that are actually really popular now that you'd almost be afraid to speak out against. And when you get down to it, they're just really evil.
Okay.
So is that its own operating force?
Okay. If you are...
Okay, we're going to skip the ad. Let's see. I just learned this today. I'm like, ooh, wait a minute. How do we do that then? I think, oh my goodness. Ooh, I don't know how to drive. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, for goodness sake. Okay, that's not working that great. Let's try, oh shoot, let's try that.
Masterclass that will illuminate that subject in ways that affected a psychic. It will be pinned. How many times have we heard that? This is the battle for humanity's soul. Okay, right? I mean, please. Okay, so we've heard that 1,000 times.
Talking about good versus evil. We hear good versus evil. So I just missed a bit there.
Right. All right. So when we use the word evil, the first thing I want us to look at clearly from a very detached perspective is that we're viewing things through a religious perspective. Okay. So anytime we're viewing things from a certain perspective, it's kind of like us taking a snow globe and you shake it and the snow's you can't really see clearly, right? Because you're viewing it from a perspective. You're viewing it through a dirty windshield. And this is where we get good versus evil. Okay. Evil does not exist. Does not exist. That's a religious perspective. Now, what does exist? We'll expand on it. What does exist is there are, I'll use the word entities. There are entities that have gotten so far from who and what they really are, which is love and wisdom, whose subsets are talents and abilities. That's what the I am is. That's what the fractal.
I'm listening at 1.25, by the way. I will be linking this in the, if it's too fast, you may want to check it out yourself. But I did show this to my son and we would stop and have discussions, and he noted there, like, he is exploring faith right now. So he is aware that, people use the word religion. Anyways, he kind of knows. I asked him, did it trigger him? No, it didn't trigger him, but he just took notice. Yeah. So anyways, that's kind of irrelevant. I'm sorry.
God is. It is our depth, our level, our amount of love and wisdom. There are some entities, and I'm not using the word beings. Those are two different things. There are some entities that have gotten so far away from who and what they really are that they actually have lost all conscious connection to love, to their own love, and therefore they are.
I'm curious, within this potential audience that's watching my video right now, do you believe that the true essence of a human being is love and wisdom? I do, actually. I do really like how he's talking about, I'm not going to call them evil, but my way of saying is disconnected to their true nature. And I kind of prefer to talk like that. Like, let's be as objective as we can. Don't be judgmental and throwing, well, I guess you can be if you want, but I do think it's more optimal to describe situations as neutrally and objectively as possible. However, I know a majority of people living on Earth right now might be termed, I like the term objective materialist. So that's one I like to enter into the commons. I like kind of having fun with that word, the commons, like the knowing field that we all are embedded in, to the idea. I've already forgotten what I just said. Oh my goodness gracious. Let's let RJ keep talking. I think there's going to be a clip, and then I'm going to do a clip at the end that I think is just really, really helpful to the conversation of optimal human health, DIY, what is a human being and what is reality, but really focusing maybe first on what is a human being fully and truly. And let's keep listening.
Incapable of being that love or expressing that love. And so therefore they're able to operate in a way that, from a purely metaphysical perspective, they're able to operate in a way that is completely and utterly low frequency. Because there's high frequency and low frequency. That's metaphysics and that's tangible. I don't talk about good versus evil and spirituality and all this other utter garbage. So these entities have moved away from their own love, who and what they are. And therefore they are able to operate in a way that those that have been brainwashed through religion, like most of us, they would call it evil. Mm-hmm. It is not. There's no such thing, because it's all God. It's all God.
Rather than brainwash, I might offer entrained. I actually really like the idea of entrainment. I like that word better than brainwashed. I don't think anyone wants to feel like they've been brainwashed, but you've been entrained to a perspective and a framework that you are looking. They're kind of like lenses of your glasses. Like you've got lenses in front of your eyes and you're seeing the world through that lens, and you're assuming that's the ultimate abject reality. I don't know, abject might not be the right word. I don't even know why I said that. But the idea that you're viewing through a perspective, an entrainment, I guess maybe even that word, it would bother people, but that's how I look at it. I think there's an entrainment to belief systems, to ways of looking at the world, and you might think you're looking at reality, and you are, and yet it doesn't look the same as another person who's not wearing those lenses in front of their eyes. So I mean, I would offer, isn't the ultimate is we want to see reality as clearly as we possibly can. And I do believe that anyone can see reality clearly, but I don't think we can be very objective. Are we seeing clearly? And that's why we have conversations and we understand, try to have a willingness and curiosity about the perspectives and ways of seeing things that other people are seeing it. So that's the kind of conversation and relating that I really prefer and I really enjoy. I find it deeply nourishing, like fascinating. Sometimes you're like, wow, you look at it that way. Oh, and then I usually will always take that in and kind of, like you take, what is a wine person? They call them, oh my goodness. Well, a real wine tester aficionado, they will take the wine in their mouth, they'll swish it around a little bit, wine taste. And then they might even spit it out. They're just taking the sensations of the flavor and body and different notes on the wine, but they won't even swallow it. Like, you can do that. You can actually do that, you guys. Did you know that? You can actually take in a person's perspective and oh my God, it's on the tip of my tongue. Wine taster expert can swish it in your awareness and just take it in. And if you care for other people, which hopefully you're talking to people you actually care about, and they might not see it the way you do, and that's okay. So sometimes I just do that and I feel really good about it. I get like that full experience of that perspective, and then I kind of still sort of stay with my own, but then I'm now informed about that other person. And I love that. And then I think, oh, okay, they have a different way. So sometimes that will also help me in future conversations say, hey, what's your take on this? Like, to me, that's what relating and friends are like. It's not like we all have to be the same, see the same, feel the same. I don't think reality wants us all to be the same. Like, we're not clones of each other. What's the point of being here if you don't experience the diversity and complexity of all of the beautiful beings that we're sharing space with? Okay, I'm going to keep going. Oh.
We've just gotten far away. Some have gotten very far away from their own love and wisdom. And that's how they can operate in the way that they do. And then we label it evil. Now, I hope that makes sense. So without predatory type energies, Like a shark. Is a shark evil? No. It's hungry. It's hungry. Is it angry when it jumps up and bites something to eat? Is it angry or is it hungry? It's hungry. Is a lion evil? I mean, I don't think so. It's hungry. Even as it grabs that little gazelle, as difficult as it may be to watch, it grabs that gazelle and eats. It's not angry. It's hungry. Okay, so if we can start to see things clearly from a detached perspective, we'll just start to understand that there are absolutely predatory energies. I just named some predatory energies. There are absolutely beings that operate in a predatory way, but without them, without them providing the evolutionary tension, there wouldn't be evolution. So this is also.
What do you guys think about the concept of evolutionary tension? I kind of like that, evolutionary tension. Sometimes it's, like the Gene Key 58 I mentioned in the last video, which is the shadow is dissatisfaction. But there is a divine dissatisfaction, my own divine impatience. I definitely evolved through the divine dissatisfaction to the point where, I try and pan out, look at the context. Of course, I was dissatisfied and angsty at one time, but I do think we grow through the angsty part of that dissatisfaction, and then we go into the gift of vitality. Well, where's my part to play in the beautiful co-creation of reality and experiences and whatever? Let me see. Do I want to hear any more of this? I think we're about to skip over real soon. Oh,
difficult for the finite mind to work with. We need evolutionary tension, which makes us Clark Kented and reach within ourselves and bring out the best in ourselves, to tap into more of our love and wisdom and our talents and abilities. And that is what evolution is. So there has to be evolutionary tension.
And I imagine a lot of you caught that Clark Kent it, like become like your Superman, your own personal superhero is waiting to be, pull off your divine dissatisfaction clothes and step into your vitality. So I loved how he used that so casually. You just Clark Kent it, become who you truly are, get rid of the parts that aren't truly you, and then you can become who you truly are. Then you can serve. And then I just want to remind you, I'm going to go back to that. I did read it out in my last video, but I really loved it. At Gene Key 58. So I've got my book and I'm just going to flip through. Because I shared this with my son today, so it kind of reminded me. And I thought it was just so powerful. Even as I was reading it 2 days ago on my video, I really liked it. Okay, so when they're talking about the gift of vitality in the Gene Key 58 that we've just left that cycle, at the gift frequency, the same energy that you experienced as dissatisfaction now begins to turn into joy. And so I just thought that was kind of cool how I'm going to tie that in. Like we've now moved into Gene Key 38, which we'll talk about shortly. I think that happened today. It's just like the astrology signs. Every 6 days we move to a different gene key or so. And anyway, at the gift frequency, that divine dissatisfaction, that same energy that you experienced as dissatisfaction now begins to turn into joy. And that can seem kind of inaccessible. And I do remember a time in my own mindset where that would have seemed very inaccessible. I just want to draw your attention to that. But anyway, so I think we're going to move now to 6 minutes. Okay, well, I guess we're listening to most of the video because it was around 6 minutes that I want to go. And let's see what he has to say here. So that idea of predatory energy, just hungry, like when you think of entities or demons or people who are having bad behavior, they're hungry, they're dissatisfied, they're trying to get their needs met. I kind of like his, I don't personally like to use the word evil. I do like the idea. So I really share that with RJ, to be who you truly are and what's getting in the way of that. So that's where my interest is. Like I think as a collective, that would be something to focus some attention and intention into, understanding the fundamentals of what creates people to be so far away from their true nature. Because I guess I'll just interject right here is we have generations of poverty and not addressing, what do you call it, like trauma, like ancestral trauma, this life trauma, so much trauma. And if you never address it, it builds up, it builds up, it builds up, it builds up. So here we are, like we're generations, and maybe some people could even say centuries into this, but I think we are evolving. But we got a bit stagnated, and anyway, that's a part of the bigger conversation. Let's hear what he has to say here. I really enjoyed his perspective here.
And that's where we just get confused. So when we have a question, a burning question, this is going to sound bizarre, but just go with me. We have a burning question about something. Instead of seeking the answer, give yourself any answer you want to that question, any answer. And then see if that's satisfying. And then see if that stops the questioning. Now, what you're going to find is that when you give yourself any answer, it doesn't matter what the answer is. You never actually feel better, and it never stops the questioning, right? Which you just experienced. Now, this is profound. Now, what this means is that answers are irrelevant because the questions don't matter.
Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing here because, like, I think he worded that pretty well. And I actually have already discussed this with my son, so that's partly why it took me so long to get going. But you know what? He went out to a movie with his dad and a group anyway, a bunch of them from the other. He lives in a 2-household family, so he has, yeah, so they're going to see the movie Wicked. So that enters into my day today too, because I actually saw the movie Wicked back in London on, in the London theater scene. I've been to London many times, and every time I go, I try to maximize how many live plays I see. So I did see Wicked, and it was wicked good. I thought it was really good, and I loved noticing the trend at that time. What year would that have been? Maybe it was 2018. It was one of my Arthur Findlay College times. But anyways, whatever. It was a year, but I could notice the trend, and even the Joker. I never saw that movie about the Joker. But like giving a backstory to the bad guy. I loved seeing that trend. Give a backstory to the bad guy. How did this happen? How did the person become so wicked? How did that happen? Oh, ooh. So, yeah, like I already had a discussion, and it was, oh, my son, Z, my youngest son, who lives with me 1 week out of 2, we had a good coffee chat this morning, and now he's off seeing the movie Wicked. So I'm like, oh, I could feel the pressure. I felt the evolutionary pressure that I had to do a video today. But anyway, and I'm trying to keep it simpler, but we'll see. It's a little bit of a different style. So yeah, the idea of my way of saying it, I have long been saying for nearly a decade, when you ask the optimal question, I used to say, when you ask the optimal question, you get the optimal answer. Then I shifted that maybe a year and a half ago. When you ask the optimal question, you prime yourself to receive the optimal answer. And really optimal, I love the word optimal. I really chose that very consciously because optimal is, it's not, you can't really put your finger on it. It's dynamic, it can be flexible. And I think that's what we all have to be. Like if you define something like optimal equals A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Well, then if you don't have A, B, C, D, F, G, oh, it's not optimal. Like you've made such a small little box, tiny little box. And it's like, how is it going to fit in there? Optimal is going to change depending on the context of all these reality-based parameters, which I think aren't being in the commons, in the collective consciousness as much as they could be, because they're very relevant. I think, you're embedded in reality. Well, there's some ways of being aware of the variables that are associated with that. Even geographic and the solar weather, the this, the that, the other thing, and who's in your company, and what's the goal, is there a combined and collective goal? So anyways, I'm just trying to really give you this idea. Yeah, like we're going to watch a little bit more, and the other thing I get to is, I think I've written this in my variety, the books that I've read and put onto 2 different Facebook pages, is question your questions. Like even just, and the other thing is to leave a question unanswered, like to have a really beautiful question. There is such a thing as an optimal question, and it's not even about the answer, and I think he's about to talk about that. So anyway, let's see what happens next. We're just about done, everybody, with this one, and then I've got another one. Oh.
Now, with this understanding, we're getting closer to liberation. So instead of seeking answers, because it doesn't matter what the answer is, because we now understand that questions are irrelevant, the key is to go to the source of the questioner who keeps asking questions, and shine the light on the questioner, which is just the fragmented egoic mind. And
the fragmented egoic mind, the non-coherent mind, the less than whole-brained thinking. So the corpus callosum needs to be optimized so that the right and left brain are harmonized, and then the brain harmonizes with the heart, and that's a different thing. So he's just focusing on the, he's kind of, just for simplicity's sake, talking just about the fragmented ego mind. And I know that may not mean anything to anyone, but I guess, are you using your whole brain? There's a question for you. And it's not about coming to the answer, but if you're not using your whole brain and you're not connected to your true nature, and you're not even connected to your heart, God help you, and God will, or your highest version of yourself can help you. It's all accessible, but I do like how he talks about, like, stop worrying about the questions outside. Okay, and that's the other thing is I have in my life people, we may not be close friends, but like I try to get involved as best I can. And I know a lot of people that I've been interacting with I call them truthers. I call them truthers. And they spend a lot of time talking about stuff, truth or this and that, and oh, this happening, all these things outside. They spend all their time. And then at one point I was getting sent, and I finally, like, no more, please don't send me anymore. Like, I found it helpful because I wondered what was, I like to know what's alive in people's awareness, what's catching their attention. But if you're focusing on all these outside, what's the truth, 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 you're not paying attention to the truth of who you are. And I think at this point, when I look at some of the interactions I've had in the recent year, I'm like, wow, like, it's hard to know what the truth is now. And I don't know, does it even matter? It does, it's relevant. And yet even more relevant is, what's the truth of you? Are you expressing in a harmonized mind-brain connection? What's your discernment to judgment ratio? Actually, I know this little sheet. I think I shared my last video that I felt on December 26th, I got this new idea that this discernment skeptic ratio was relevant to the optimal human understanding. And then I vibed it at 95%. And then on the December 28th, the day I made that video, Optimal Health DIY, 100%. Well, I went back and I said, okay, I want to see how this, so I went to September 2010 as I was starting to get kind of really, my divine dissatisfaction was rising and I was wanting to do something about it and I wanted to be my best self. So September 2010, I got my discernment to skeptic ratio at 45%. And then November 2012, I was locked up between October 25th and November 25th, 2012, incarcerated in the psychiatry system. So at November 2012, 50%. This is my vibe that I did on December 26, 2024. I went back with my tendril of attention and remote perceptual ability, which we all have, but you do have to practice and hone it. And I feel like I've honed it. So, and then June 2016, I kind of took I just kind of randomly picked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to kind of see how this progression occurred. So June 2016, now I've been locked up twice. My second incarceration was May 2015. I don't know why I picked anyways, I randomly picked June 2016, and it was, oh, wait a minute, that was my third and final incarceration, was in May of 2015. So I was 60% June 2016. And then, oh yeah, the other reason why is I stopped lithium in November 2016. So that's why I picked that one. And then I went to February 2018. I started the nutrients, the True Hope Empowerment Plus nutrients, which I've talked a little bit about in my last video, and regularly, because I continue to this day to take those nutrients. So February 2018, I got 70% discernment to skeptic ratio. October 15th, 2020, and I had a little kind of a 24-hour little episode that I handled by myself, October 1st, 2020. So I picked October 15th, 2020, 81%. So I started the nutrients in January 2018, and I just carried on, trying to act naturally, trying to like constantly asking, what's natural for me? What's natural for me? What's natural for me? Because you can get so focused, like your attention is being drawn by this and that, and even close friends, like they kind of want to, I said, oh, this is really alive for them. I don't mind talking about it a little bit, but it's not where my passion is sometimes. Well, especially like, was it 2020? Well, yeah, I remember some things about 2020 I think there was like a health issue going on in the world. Yeah, so October 15, 2020, 81%. And actually by then, wait a minute, by then I had done a lot of rabbit holing. I think a lot of us were going down some rabbit holes, and I did that in kind of the March to June. I was going hard, full time, looking at things and taking in perspectives and being a bit horrified. And so by October, I'm like, oh. And I think in August 2020, I made a video, and you will see it on this channel, called My Perspective, Unmasked. So that was a little bit of an awkward, I wasn't, my poor throat chakra, she just didn't want to open up. She just didn't want to open up. Anyways, okay, so then I did February 2nd, 2022. I chose that and I got 95%. And so I picked that day because my maternal grandmother died in February 2022. I can't remember if it was the 2nd or the 22nd, but I remember thinking, wow, two twos, all those twos. My grandma, my maternal grandmother, died at the age of 95. And I hadn't talked to her for a decade prior, which was a little bit weird, but that happened. So anyways, yeah, so February 2022, 95%. And then I didn't take notice of any of this until December 26, 2024. Discernment to skeptic ratio. I really like it. It's kind of I think it's just a relevant data point to be aware of. And, you can argue as much as you want to about how can you do that? But I feel I can. And if you want to consider that, it doesn't hurt to ask the question, are you being just skeptic? Are you being discerning? Oh, I just see that as a huge possible renaissance for the world. Can you imagine if we all started talking about this? I can. I can. Solutions councils, really looking at people who are making decisions that work for everyone. I do wish to transcend the, how do I do? Oh yeah, I want to share my screen because I'm going to show you something. I'm just totally I'm flying by the seat of my pants here, peeps. I picked out, this is a real favorite. I wonder how big I can make this. Hello. Oh, that's not very big. Can I make it bigger? Let's see. Oh my goodness, can I? Oh, it doesn't want to. Anyways, oh, let me see. I picked this one out. How can I make this? This is not going to look very good on the video. But anyway, so which one of you is the fork? So this is a knife and fork talking to a pair of chopsticks. So which one of you is the fork? Now that might not be an optimal question, right? I love this meme. I don't know how I can share this. Oh, I might put this on, this will be the thumbnail. I just love this so much because I think it addresses, so which one of you is the fork? They're asking the chopsticks. That's not a relevant question. That's not a good question. But from their perspective, looking at the lens, they're looking through the lenses that, okay, everyone's a knife and fork just like me. I'm a knife, so how is one, in order to eat food, you must be a knife or a fork. Well, that's not true. Chopsticks, they exist. There's no way that's true. Can I make this bigger? Come on. I want to make this bigger. Oh, there we go. Let's see how big. Okay. Hello, bonjour. Hey, how come you won't come bigger? Ah. Okay, let's see. No. Oh, he only wants to get bigger that way, huh? Well, let's try this way then. Oh, he only gets so big. Oh, can I make him bigger this way? Oh, oh my goodness. I didn't give up, did I? I persevered. Ooh, oh, he doesn't want to go that way. How come? How come he doesn't want to go that way? Okay, it's getting a little blurry now. So, which one of you is the fork? So this is my picture to represent, what do I call it? Oh, I'm just looking at my phone and I'm going to look at my email because I gave it a word that I like. Where are you? I called you transfiguration. 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 Or you could call it human evolution, human development. Some people call it enlightenment, or you could call it embodiment, full embodiment, optimal human health. Like my personal mission statement, which I keep repeating, is to enable and empower optimal human health. being fully aware that I do not know what optimal human health is yet. Like, how can I do that? How could one have a question like that when you don't even know where you're going? You don't even know what an optimal human health is. Well, consider optimal human health to be the chopsticks in this. This is what I'm offering to you. Just, I find this a really good picture. So which one of you is the fork is not the optimal question. Would you agree? Like, you can help me eat food, and so can you help me eat food. So it's not, you don't ask which one's the fork because you're just looking through your own lens. It's not about that. It's like, actually, these guys can eat, and maybe it's not the best analogy, but it's just trying to kind of pierce through your, what did RJ call it? Fragmented ego mind. And I will offer to assist to possibly make you aware that the objective materialist mindset, okay, the knife and fork represents the objective materialist mindset, okay? That's what I'm declaring in this moment. Never thought of it that way. See, that's the thing, is I just see this and I just instantly, boom, a whole big bloom comes of focus and information that doesn't really necessarily always fit into linear logical language. So anyways, the objective materialist mindset asks the person who's on their journey of expansion and evolution and awareness, so which one of you is the fork? It's like, you're missing the idea. But at the same time, I have great compassion for everyone involved here. I mean, chopsticks be chopsticks, knife and fork be knife and fork. That's fine. I say, fine, there's two options. And that's, I think, what ends up happening when we start expanding our awareness. We have more choices available to us to pick, to choose from. So think about that. Oh, am I sharing more? Let me just see. What am I going to do next? Let's see if RJ has anything more to say today. And then we're moving on to another one, very short, that we're going to watch the whole thing together.
Once you shine the light on the questioner by doing self-inquiry, you'll realize that that is a shadow and it'll disappear as soon as you shine your light on it. Now what remains is the real you. So when we're
going to repeat that, RJ, can you repeat that, please?
Shadow, and it'll disappear as soon as you shine your light on it.
Now, let's try this again.
Questioner, by doing self-inquiry, you'll realize that that is a shadow and it'll disappear. As you shine the light on the questioner by doing self-inquiry, you'll realize that that is a shadow and it'll disappear as soon as you shine your light on it. Now what remains is the real you.
721. Let's listen to that again. Let's repeat. We're in kindergarten, remember? So I'm the Sesame Street for the current age.
And once you shine the light on the questioner by doing self-inquiry, you'll realize that that is a shadow and it'll disappear as soon as you shine your light on it. Now what remains is the real you. So
now what remains is the real you. Feel into that one. I think that's a really awesome statement and soundbite. Let's just see if there's anything more today. Whoop.
When we operate backwards from the way that we have been told to operate, reach out, figure out, connect with this, connect with that, think it through, do the opposite. Do the opposite. We just had that tangible experience about giving yourself any answer. Doesn't change anything, does it? That we have been told to operate, reach out, figure out, connect with this, connect with that, think it through, do the opposite. Do the opposite. What remains is the real you. So when we operate backwards from the way that we have been told to operate, reach out, figure out, connect with this, connect with that, think it through, do the opposite. Do the opposite. We just had that tangible experience about giving yourself any answer. Doesn't change anything, does it? That's because the questions don't matter. It's the fulcrum that the...
Okay, there we go. That's what I wanted to say. I guess I don't need to say anything more because actually I repeated it 3 times for you. Differentiated learning. Differentiated learning. I kept meaning to say that. I would lose that word many times in my videos. So now I've been watching, when I watch them again, I'm like, why didn't I remember differentiated learning? I talked about my special needs education roommate for 2 years and differentiated learning, like, and how does the brain, how do we learn? Repetition, right? Repetition, 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 repetition. I'm poking at you. So anyways, things are changing and shifting with me, and I can't believe it's already 50 minutes. But anyway, what did I want to say about that? No, I think he said it very well, and he repeated it 3 times. So there you go. And consider watching it at whatever speed works for you. That was at 1.25, and I'm going to share my screen because I want to introduce you to another of a person who sort of acted as a mentor to me also. And you're going to escape. And here it is, Ray Maor. I just love this. Ray Maor, what did he say? Welcome to Ray Maor's YouTube channel, your source for breatharianism, pranic living, and spiritual evolution. Let's see, since his journey, what does he say about himself here? More. Since his journey began in 2012, Ray's been leading a pranic lifestyle, focusing on self-mastery and consciousness expansion. So yeah, like RJ was using terms, but I actually like these terms, self-mastery and consciousness expansion. His channel offers illuminating content on fasting, detoxing, human potential, and addresses questions about breatharianism. Ray aims to alter global frequencies through his teachings, unveiling the deep connection between mind, body, and spirit. Join him to explore your potential and start your spiritual transformation today. Where did I want to go back to where I was before because I really love, like I've been following him for a long time, but look at this, how to measure your self-worth. And he takes a picture of himself with his hair down, which you almost never see. He's got an amazing thick hair and he's quite a manly guy. He's about 6'4". I mean, I went to a retreat in Costa Rica with him. He's a big man, looks really healthy, really vital. He looks vital and looks like here, I see. Oh, here, I'm just going to point. Next retreat, USA. So next retreat, Europe. So he does retreats. They're not for everyone, but if your soul kind of nudges you to try this out, well, let me share a little bit about my experience. And that was in 2017, February, I think it was, in Costa Rica. I was kind of, you know, again, I keep saying, I'm not going to go to retreats. I don't want to go to any more retreats. But how I got exposed to him, I cannot remember. But I remember getting exposed to him and feeling the nudge, like for two reasons. One is I followed Teal Swan, and I do loosely now, but I did quite. Teal Swan was actually someone who was one of my earlier, to the point where she was doing synchronization workshops, and I would literally, I think you get on the phone, like, I think that must have been 2012 or something. So I was just fascinated with her work and followed her for years. So at some point, because I followed her, she said, oh, I bought a piece of land, a retreat center in Costa Rica. And I remember looking at the retreats they were offering and not being interested whatsoever, because I don't want to go to a retreat, but I want to go to that retreat center. I remember feeling the call, like, I want to go to that retreat center. It was picked by Teal Swan and she owns it and I want to go there. And so I did. And then I see Ray Maor, however I found him, I don't know. And then I saw he was one of, like, you could subcontract. So he was doing his retreat at the Teal Swan Retreat Center. I forget how they call it. There's a name for it, but anyway, I forget what it is. So I'm like, oh, that looks like a match. And he was talking about a 10-day process that he had developed. This was a 10-day, was it a 10-day retreat? It was. Oh, that's actually quite a funny story, that whole thing. Angèle being Angèle. Oh, do I talk? No, we're not talking about the details, but I will tell you, I did meet Teal Swan kind of very briefly. Like, it was kind of surreal, but again, another delight because, you know, she's not always there, but she happened to be there and she's kind of a celebrity in some circles. And so, you know, they kind of protect her. And so even if she's there, you know, don't interfere. But I mean, I knew enough about her. I just thought, oh, it'd be kind of cool to run into her, I thought to myself. And so when I arrived at the retreat center, Teal Swan was standing in front of the retreat center. That was one of only two times, like I didn't really see her otherwise because she kind of keeps to her own part of, you know, they have a way of her home. That's her home at some time. So she just happened. I don't know if I got there early or one of the first ones, but I think she just disappeared. But I met her. I said, oh, really nice to meet you. She's a beautiful woman and a very amazingly gifted woman as well. I really like her material. She's helped me a lot in many ways. So I got to meet her, like, boom, there she was. And then she disappeared. I guess I will mention, or will I? No, I won't. There was another experience I had in the same room with her that was kind of fashioned by her. And she invited the whole retreat center to join her in that experience. So I did. And I felt so connected to her. Like, I really wanted to, like, email her after to give her some feedback. but I decided not to. I ended up not following my nudge on that. Like I see a friend in her, and I have this issue. It's a constant issue where I often feel, but I mean, I've never done anything one-on-one with her. I've never gone to her synchronization workshops, but there were a few times in the early years, I'd be on the phone listening in to, it was a phone version of what became a synchronization workshop. So anyways, I knew her work and it helped me in many ways, many ways. I do find her material great. So it kind of was cool to meet her and be on site. Oh, and then there was rules. I was actually a smoker by then, 2017. I think I smoked most of my smoking time. I think I started smoking in 2015. I've quit cumulatively for maybe a year in between there, but I tend to smoke 3 or 4 cigarettes a day. I think there was a short time where I was kind of going in the 5 to 8, but basically I noticed pretty quickly if I smoke 6, that doesn't feel good. Can't do that. So anyways, 3 or 4 a day, and I still do. I've had one today already. But yeah, so there was no smoking allowed on the property. So I'm like, I'm on a breatharian retreat. So part of this retreat is you start up, it's a 10-day. I will mention that private session, Raymond, or I don't know if this is, am I betraying his confidence? Oh, I might be. Okay, shoot. This is what I want open data. I want open data, people, open data. There's already with Teal Swan and with Raymond, or there's things I don't feel to share. I'm trying to really use the rule book for myself right now to only share what's publicly available, because I really want to publish one that I made prior to DIY, and it was called Joker's Wild Heyoka. But I shared something from my own private mentorship session, and I found out that wasn't allowed. It's like, oh, it was so good, but it's true. She shared, a really good facilitator shares so much of themselves. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to talk to her about it, and I plan to. We're seeing each other next week, and I'm going to talk to her about it and just ask her, did she even watch it? Or like, I have an idea that possibly when she's sharing herself publicly in a new way, which she's preparing to do, could I then unrelease for public use the Joker's Wild Hayoka video? But anyways, I guess I will tell you the reason why I just loved, what she shared with me, and she said, oh, you can quote me, no problem, but she didn't want, but to hear her deliver it was so magical. Anyway, I wanted to introduce you to her, and it's like, oh, not right now. Not right now. I'm really hoping that open data will be allowed in the future, but with that particular case. But obviously I respect her. She has helped me so much. We meet twice a month since April 2024. And I am the most reluctant. I have been so reluctant. And I do understand why. And I have great compassion for myself in my reluctance, in my impatience and reluctance. Can you imagine the tension that forms? Like, I'm reluctant and yet I'm impatient, and I want to share and I want to contribute. I want to collaborate. Ultimately, I want to collaborate with an optimal group of diverse, consciously aware, heart connected with whole brain thinking and mind brain coherence, or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, so yeah, she was saying, she delivered me the word brazen, Brazen. And I just like, ooh, like the minute she's talking about that, I just felt a dump, a download. I call it a down, information just dumped right in. I'm like, ooh, yes, I have to be brazen. And then she said, throw some sand around. If you know that when you put sand in a clam, it makes pearls, you start throwing sand around. So basically that was 2 weeks ago today. She shared that in our session, and I'm like, yes, I'm going to be brazen. I'm going to throw some sand around. So here we are. This is why I'm sharing in this really unusual, unique way when you look at the way other people share, but this is the way I share. Context, context, context. How is the context? I really understand my context probably better than my audience, but it's okay. I am compassionate with myself and I want to be authentic, but I want to be brazenly authentic now. So I made that decision 2 weeks ago. This is a great time to share with you another thing that came in and was included in the Joker's Wild Heyoka. This has got to be shared now. We can't wait. So I won't even tell you the backstory, but anyways, I came to be aware. I will tell you that it was through an organization called Winfinity, W-I-N capital, Finity, Winfinity, based in Calgary, Alberta, which is a 3-hour drive for me. I got put in touch with the woman who sort of, I don't even know what to label it, but anyway, she's, I think, the founder and a really big part of the heart and soul of this Winfinity organization, where they help to develop the people for the Solutions Council, basically, like how to collaborate in a diverse group. So in the process of me wanting to participate in an inquiry cluster, so that's how they call it, inquiry cluster, I give myself, and this is what I had to do, an orientation. So I did the orientation, and then we're gonna have a discussion and then see where we go next. So I haven't met her face to face yet, and we will on Zoom soon in January. So anyways, I started the process. I did this orientation kind of collection of videos, and they were excellent. These are all the notes I made, like 5 pages of notes as I was watching it, because I'm taking this seriously. I'm like, okay, I need training. I need training. I need training. I need training. I'm kind of teasing us all. But actually, this is just like lights me up. I'm like, what? How come I didn't find this sooner? Oh, goodness gracious. But anyways, I put something in pink. This is the huge pearl. When would I have done this? Maybe 3 weeks ago. I started the orientation December 15th. I probably finished it a few days later. Yeah, but anyway, so over a few days, I think it took not more than 3 hours to go through this. I made 5 pages of notes, but this was offered by Trey. And, oh, I wanted to memorize her last name. I don't know. But anyway, she's this founder of Winfinity. Just that name alone, win, win-win. We're looking for win-win situations. We're looking at solutions that work for everyone. So anyway, she offered this, and I took this on as a new personal, I have so many, personal mantra. Try this out for you. See how this feels. It's just, I've shared this with all my close friends, and they're all pretty lit up by it as well. I give myself permission to receive something better, something more, something different, something new. And I started saying that like all day long. And oh boy, I got more delight hitting me. More. Called it in. I asked for it. Oh, anyways, try it on. Like, I think this is where we're at. As a collective, if we all committed or felt connected to this idea and it felt good to you, I wouldn't want you to go against what doesn't feel good. But if it does feel good, do this experiment. Say this, maybe you want to write it down. I'll include it in a comment or something so that you could just see this all by itself. I give myself permission to receive something better, something more, something different, something new. So that's how you live life. Because actually, I've been challenged to receive. As much as I've received so much, I have such an abundant life. I think I had a little bit of a narrow funnel, like I could receive in this way, but not that way. This way, but not that way. But think of all the different ways we can receive. And I won't go into the details, but I mean, my life is just a delight. So yeah, the name of this video, what was it again? Reactions of a Wicked Good Life. I love it. That's a great title. Good job, Angel. Reactions of a Wicked Good Life. That's what I'm doing for you today. But I mean, I've had lots of help. It's not like that fierce independence. I had a problem with that too. And I also had a problem with perfectionism. I think it's a great segue to listen to Rayma Orr tell us. And this video that I'm going to share with you is not very long, and I'm putting it, oh yeah, let me change it to 1.25. Let's just go here. Let's go here.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Rayma Orr. Measuring self-worth is a...
Okay, I'm going to go to 1.25. I don't know why. Why am I doing that? I don't know. I'm going to do that. So it's not going to take us very long to watch this video, which is 6 minutes and 45 seconds, and I put it to 1.25. I am probably going to stop and interrupt along the way, but we'll see. Let's listen to Rayma Orr speak to us. How to stop underestimating your value. Now that's a lesson. Okay, here we are. This is Sesame Street for the current era. Angèle Baudouin, the disabled angel, is teaching you how to stop underestimating your value. If we all can do this, we can create some pretty fun and good stuff. Okay, Rayma Orr. Look at his motorbike. I'm just noticing his environment. Look at the context. He lives in Israel. And his mom actually immigrated to Canada. She lives in BC. So he comes to Canada a lot. But anyways, I've been following him since just before 2016. Yeah, actually, I could talk more about that time, but I think another video where I can share my explorations of breatharianism, where I didn't eat or drink any water or food for 4.5 days. which I learned in medical school was impossible, and I proved that that is not true because I had my own experience. Learn via experience, another key. Learn via your own experience, not what you read in a book, not what you were trained to believe, or even trained in a credential type of situation, credential schmedential. Let's listen to Ray Moore. How to stop underestimating your value. My mom voice comes out. Okay, Ray, take it away. And I'm not sure how many times I'm going to interrupt you, but this is 6 minutes, 45 seconds. We're listening at 1.25. Do you have time? Do you have time? Do you have time, everybody? Do you have time? Do you have time for that? Huh? 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 Do you have time? Do you have time? How to stop? Do you have time to stop underestimating your value? I would say take the time, please, people. Let's go. Let's take the time together. And I'm here, right here with you, watching with you. Let's go.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ray Moore. Measuring self-worth is a journey of understanding the balance between our expectations of ourselves and our realized accomplishments. It's a very simple equation. Our self-worth is equal our expectations divided by our accomplishment. When our expectations are higher than our accomplishments, disappointment will creep in. And unfortunately, this is where most of us find ourselves today. Failure is a part of life, but it's not black and white. Our standards should be realistic. And we need to learn to enjoy our accomplishments and be grateful for what we have achieved so far. We must anchor our dreams in reality and appreciate what we've managed to attain so far. Perfectionism creates a sense of disappointment and missing out. It creates an increased self-judgment and judgment of others, decreased happiness, overthinking and overanalyzing everything, and a sense of always seeing the negative, By definition, perfectionists focus solely on the end result, while they're ignoring the path itself. And even when they reach their goal, it's never enough. They see the path as a straight, short line, while in reality, the path looks more like a kid running around in circles. Perfectionists often pass that sort of mindset to their children, emphasizing grades, achievements, and external validations. But what if that focus shifted from grades to education, from the number of friends that you have to the quality of relationship that you have? Don't confuse perfectionism with being articulate or accurate. It's okay to strive for excellence in your job or your art, but being overly specific about your personal expectations will ultimately lower your self-worth.
Okay, I guess I was just thinking, I don't want to interrupt too many times, but I will interrupt right here. I want to share perfectionism. I just, I've watched 2 videos today. I only had half a cup of coffee before I came here, but anyways, those 2 short videos, huge discussion with my son. Now he's off to watch Wicked. Anyways, I was, I want to share more, but it's too private. And something really delightful happened. Well, my son and I have great conversations, but anyways, he shared something really delightful with me today, which I can't share publicly. I almost asked his permission. Could I share it? And I'm like, no, don't even go there. But anyways, perfectionism. I actually forgot, but I think I was in university or was I in med school? But at some point in the early days with one of my early mantras was perfection is the enemy. Perfection is the enemy. I would literally tell myself that over and over and over and over again. Perfection is the enemy. Perfection. And I don't think that's the optimal. Let me just feel into, let me see, is that optimal for me right now? I don't think that's optimal. You see, that's where I started. Perfection is the enemy. Perfection is the enemy. But it served me. But then we evolve. We're dynamic. We don't stay the same all the time. So what would I say now? I don't even say that. I don't think about that. I think of what's natural for me now. That's more where I'm at now. So I went from perfection is the enemy to what's natural for me? I wonder, what are my choices? Kind of showing you, I changed my mindset. Think about that. I changed it. I evolved it. I curated and kept noticing things, got angsty, divinely discontent, was locked up. With my creational power, and my belief systems thinking, oh, someone has authority. It's actually kind of hard to get out of the hospital when you're in with legal powers. But I wanted to just leave. I didn't want to. And yet, if I tried, I think there would have been a fisticuffs and then maybe I'd end up in a straitjacket, or I wasn't sure. So I just thought, okay, I'm going to put up with this. So anyways, the journey is an interesting one, let me tell you. Yeah, so now I'm more about what am I what are my options? What are my options? That would be a question. Like, it's not about perfectionism anymore. It's like, are you being authentic? Are you being optimally transparent? Transparency still challenges me because I would love to be even more transparent with more open data. But at the same time, I also want to respect people in my life that I love and care about. And, there are boundaries that are set up, and I have to, number one, remember them all. I find it a little confusing, but I do feel like we're going to evolve to a position where, like, secrets and lies, we just won't have a need for them. And number one, you can become, because actually what my son told me today, I already knew. I knew quite a long time ago, but I wasn't 100% sure, but I kind of had a psychic, for lack of a better word, but I was aware of, oh, okay, interesting. I'm curious now, how long was it going to take him to share it with me? And he did today. So you can't keep secrets. I mean, the thing is, I don't have a need to announce everybody's secrets. I don't want to do that. But I do want to collaborate. I want to copyright in an open data fashion, transparently, relevantly, transparently. Like, at some point, I think that we can open up that, but in the meanwhile, we can't. Like, even I wanted to share something personal about Teal Swan, about Ray Moore. Well, no, don't. Just don't. Leave it for them. And you can go explore, because I'm sure, no, actually, one of them would never be publicly available. So anyways, it's like, I become aware of stuff. I'm really delighted by it. I want to share it. And so I think the only way I could share it is with a close friend, not with this audience. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm keeping secrets from you. I've had experiences that I can't share with you, some of them. But I mean, how do you really share any experience anyway? But anyways, where was I going? I think we're going to let Ray speak. Oh yeah, perfection is the enemy. So not perfection is the enemy, but what are my options? Is this natural for me? Well, and that's a good question to ask in this. Oh yeah, the other thing I guess I will say is, like, just out of my medical experience and then becoming incarcerated, I remember thinking, wow, everything is like 180 degrees polar opposite to what I feel would be optimal. And what I've come to, I mean, it's not like that was my idea. It was downloaded into me all at once, all at once. It was very, like, so new. My brain expanded. My perception expanded. I mean, it's no joke, but at the same time, like, to see yourself being epically misunderstood on a daily systematic basis and with legal powers given, it's pretty crazy, people. It's pretty crazy. But what was I going with that? The 180. Yeah. So, I mean, if you're in a distorted, inverted, twisted, a lot of people who have made these systems are, in RJ's words, not connected to their true nature. I mean, I kind of throw around the word demonic. Demonic. Like, I think our systems were set up by people who were in demonic frequencies. They were not connected to their heart. They weren't whole brain thinkers. So now we're in a situation where, okay, more and more people are harmonizing their right and left hemispheres. So their corpus callosums are like, ooh, baby, ooh, baby. Look at this little symbol, the infinity symbol over the heart. I was actually really disappointed when I first got this, because it's flat Stanley. Look at that. But of course, the picture that depicted this product looked really beautiful, and it was a three-dimensional form. So false advertising is a problem, right? False advertising. But in the end, it was so funny. One of my, like, if I had a medical problem, or not medical, but a health problem, there's someone I would go to as my first line of defense, and her name is Kelly Wolf. And she has this hanging on her front door, this exact thing. And I told her, yeah, I was so disappointed when I got that. And she didn't even, she goes, oh. But for me, the picture that depicted, when I bought this, and then I thought, well, that's a pretty cheap price. And I knew, like, it was something that would have been like, and I think this is kind of a fun symbol, and I like doing this for you. Because this was one of those Facebook marketplace, right? And you look and you go, oh, it was the most beautiful thing I ever saw. I would love to purchase the actual one that I saw in the picture. I don't know if anyone else came across this ad, but like this two-dimensional, that's kind of our world. Oh, look at the symbol of that. Like, just try and picture with me that, like, someone is a master forger and they've got three-dimensional wrought irons, and then sometimes tapering. And can you imagine this in a three-dimensional form? And it was like a masterpiece. Probably that would have been worth maybe $600, maybe. Let me just tap in, because yeah, like I would actually pay $600 for that actual one that I saw a picture of. But I stopped buying anything off Facebook, and I don't even look at Facebook hardly at all now. $600, would that be, yeah, like $600 for the thing I saw a picture of, and then this one might have cost, I don't remember, $30, $40. So like, hello, Angel. Like I just loved it so much. I'm like, well, let's see what comes. And so I kind of knew it probably might not look like, I think in my subconscious I knew, but I just loved it and I wanted to buy it. But I ended up getting this instead. But it's a beautiful symbol, the infinity symbol with the heart. Very beautiful design. But the picture that actually depicted this product when you were buying it was way more beautiful, infinitely more beautiful than this. And this is still pretty cool. And I hang this on, like, I put it on two, what do you call it? Two door handles of my secretary desk. So it's just sitting there and it's always looking at me when I'm sitting over there in my family room. Anyways, I'm looking through the lens of the two-dimensional thing that's a very weak representation of the picture that was shown when you could order this. But anyway, that's kind of fun, hey? Okay, let's listen to Ray finish. I just thought this was so fantastic. I sent the link to my son because it really was perfect after our conversation today. Because, yeah, let's keep. How to stop underestimating your value. We all need to do this, and the sooner we do it, the more we get together and understand our own value, the more we get together, the happier we'll be.
The perfectionist will always pay a high emotional price for not recognizing reality as it is. The resistance to
I can agree with that. Been there, done that. Yes, a high emotional price. High emotional price. Consider the emotional price you've paid for your belief system. You know, whatever beliefs you are holding on to right now, because you can change your mind. You actually can. You can let them go. Because I went from perfection is the enemy to what's natural for me? What are my choices? Consider that.
acknowledge your failures creates anxiety because the chance of failing always exists in life. So why are our expectations so high of ourselves? We live in an era bombarded by advertisements showing us perfect people. Celebrities, influencers display their lives to us, and everywhere we look, society tells us what we should achieve. I'll give you some examples. You might see a friend on social media buying a house while you're still renting, or a coworker celebrating a promotion while you kind of feel stuck in your role in your job, or fitness influencers that make you feel inadequate because you haven't hit the gym this week or you haven't exercised in a decade. Today, the whole world is visible to us and it's overwhelming. Our society had evolved into one of materialistic and external values, and we unconsciously set expectations based on external influences that are external to us. So I want to dive into the subject of perfectionism. And perfectionism isn't binary. It's not about whether you are.
I think we're going to repeat one of those sentences there.
Our society had evolved into one of materialistic and external values, and we unconsciously set expectations based on external influences that consciously set expectations based on external influences that are.
I'm teasing you guys. Let's do that one more time.
Based on external influences that are external to us. So I want to dive into the subject of perfectionism. And perfectionism isn't binary. It's not about whether you are or aren't a perfectionist. It's about where you set high expectations of yourself. For example, you might expect to be a flawless parent, or you think you should own a house by the age of 30. Or you want to be in perfect physical shape, but life keeps getting in your way. Perfectionism is defined by 3 factors: refusal to accept failure, refusal to accept negative emotions, and refusal to recognize your success. Yes, this is the.
Let's go back and hear him say that again.
Refusal to accept negative emotions and refusal to recognize your 3 factors: refusal to accept failure, refusal to accept negative emotions, and refusal to recognize your success. Yes?
Refusal to accept negative emotions. That was a big one for me. How about you? That one was a finger quote killer of my spirit, let me tell you. But anyways, we figure it out. We got to be MacGyver. We got to figure it out one way or another. We can do it. You can do it. I can do it. I can do it. You can do it. Yes. See, it says yes right on the screen there. Let's keep going, Ray. Sorry, I keep interrupting you.
This is the surprising part, as people seem to think that it motivates them to be a perfectionist. But in fact, it creates a resistance to success. Students that postpone tasks, for example, are usually perfectionists because they are afraid to begin a task that they know they might not end up doing to their satisfaction. Perfectionism is seeing life as a single arrow, one direction.
Just in this moment, I've already watched this once before. I'm just realizing it's my perfectionist self that's kind of gotten in the way and made me reluctant. So I'm still releasing some of my perfectionist past. And you can see I've overcome it by doing these inexpert videos, but at the same time, I'm having a really good time, and this is getting long, and it looks, I have quite a bit more that I had lined up. We'll see what happens. Let's keep listening. Sorry, Ray, carry on.
One way to achieve success. It often starts even in childhood, where too much judgment or pressure from parents instills a very narrow narrative of self-worth. Or it can stem from being overly gifted, where high expectations become self-imposed. If we have one dream and one dream only, the dream of a perfect life.
Yeah, that idea of being gifted. We're all gifted in one way or another. And I guess what we have to do is start opening up our gifts, releasing our gifts, uncovering our gifts, unveiling our gifts. But it's true, our own giftedness, often the gifts can be the challenge in various ways. I'm really listening to it for the second time. Honestly, this little message, I would encourage you to consider it. Give it a listen in your own way, not with me interrupting it, but I'm gonna try and leave him go uninterrupted because we only have 2 more minutes and it's at 1.25. Let's go.
We are dooming ourselves for living in constant disappointment because that dream has 0 chances of fruition in the real world. Try to see if you can recognize any of these perfectionist traits in yourself. Fear of failure, focusing on destination, all or nothing approach, defensive attitudes, search for disadvantages in ideas, or stiffness. The opposite of these traits is going to be...
I was really drawn to all or nothing and the stiffness. I witnessed it a lot, and I witnessed the all or nothing I definitely have seen in myself. And sometimes you have to kind of let go and follow the gold nugget trail. I used to say breadcrumb trail. I now say gold nugget trail. It's a gold nugget trail. You don't see too far ahead. You just grab the next gold nugget, grab the next gold nugget as it appears to you in your awareness. I interrupted him. Whoops.
Failure as an adventure, focusing on the journey, openness, acceptance attitude, optimism, and being dynamic and flexible. So, how do we raise self-worth? You want to minimize perfectionist traits. And there are 2 ways. You lower your expectations to something realistic and achievable for you. You try to really accept things as they are without trying to force your point of view. This means and achievable for you. You try to really accept things as they are without trying to force your point of view. And achievable for you. You try to really accept things as they are without trying to force your point of view. Achievable for you. You try to really accept things as they are without trying to force your point of view. Something realistic and achievable for you. You try to really accept things as they are without trying to force your point of view.
I think that was 5 times. Did you guys catch that? Did you catch it? 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 Anyways, I'm being myself. Okay, let's go.
This means self-acceptance, accepting your partner as they are, even if they don't accept you as you are, accepting your children, your parents, your surrounding environment as it is. The second thing you want to do is you want to stay off social media, especially if you feel that it depresses you. You want to celebrate the small wins along the way. There's plenty of them. You want to enjoy life's dramas. That's exactly what you signed up for. There is no point in arguing with reality. You will just... There is no point in arguing with reality. You will just enjoy life's dramas. That's exactly what you signed up for. There is no point in arguing with reality. You will just...
Do you agree? Is there any point in arguing with reality? I do witness that quite a bit, but I stopped doing it at one point. Not sure, somewhere in the COVID era, I stopped arguing with reality and accepted reality, and it actually made life live so much better. So the title of this is Reactions of a Wicked, finger quotes, Good Life. Reactions of a Wicked Good Life.
Create resistances to life's natural flow. Perfectionism narrows your path to happiness. It narrows your self-worth because your self-worth depends on embracing the journey itself. All of it, as it served to us, that journey. So try to let go of perfectionism. Live the life you deserve to live and simply be just like a leaf in the wind. Namaste, my friends.
Okay, so I really like that. And seeing those two short videos and such, and then after the conversation with Jean-Luc, I just couldn't. So he's going to see the movie Wicked. So I looked up Wicked. Let's see what we got. We got the official trailer and we got What Is This Feeling? You know, like I said, I just thought, wow, they're giving backstories to the bad guys and the villains in this story. But what is this feeling? I think I'm going to take this as a musical interlude. Now, if it ends up that it does copyright, then I might have to just clip it out. But if not, let's just see how far along Angèle's patience will go with this song that I've never heard before.
What is this feeling so sudden and new?
I felt the moment I laid eyes on you.
My pulse is rushing.
My head is reeling.
Yeah, well, my face is flushing. What is this feeling, fervent as a flame? Does it have a name? Yes. Loathing, unadulterated loathing for your face,
your voice,
your clothing. Let's just say I love it all. Every little trait, however small, makes my very flesh begin to crawl.
Oh my God, okay. Loathing. What is this feeling? Loathing. Okay, that's interesting. I wanted to share that I am watching a show called Good Omens right now. I'm in the second season. The first season, I think, was a masterpiece. I am feeling to drop off after the second season, but I don't know. So I'm just looking at this Good Omens. What do I want? And I wanted to show you, you know, I'm totally new. I'm just doing this on the fly. What would I choose to watch? Good Omens season trailer 1. I feel like it could spoil it. Let's just look at what's offered here. Good Omens official trailer. Okay, I get a yes, but at the same time, first scene, meetings. There was something when I scrolled down here that caught my eye. What was it? Oh yeah, the one that I know which one it was. Where was it? Aziraphale and Crowley flirting with each other for almost 10 minutes. That one really caught my attention, but I don't want to ruin it for you, but that's already probably a trailer. Do we watch? Okay, let's just take a little peek at the Good Omens official trailer.
I am an angel. You are a demon. We're hereditary enemies. Get thee behind me, foul fiend.
Actually, I'm going to stop right there. I don't think there's any real spoilers so far, so it gives you an idea. I actually, I don't really want to talk too much about it, but I would give The Good Omens season 1. It's 6 episodes, so it's not that long, but I thought it was very masterfully done, potentially triggering for some, you know, the religion side of it. I don't know. And so I watched the first episode with my son, and he didn't say it, said it didn't trigger him, but it did create some conversation. So that was good. What do we have here? Okay, well, another show I've been watching, like I kind of stopped it, but I guess over the Christmas season, I binged, I think across a couple, 2-3 days just before Christmas on this, The Good Doctor. So I'm not sure. Let's see what we're going to look at. Watch Dr. Sean's incredible surgical skills. Wait a minute. What did I want to show you? Good Doctor official trailer. The Good Doctor is terrible autism characterization. I did take notice when I watch things sometimes. This is not a character, it says. And I was intrigued by that. And I still want to explore, what the autism community had to say about this. Oh yeah, where was something I saw here? Sean Murphy, a young surgeon with autism and savant syndrome, moves from the quiet country life to join the surgical unit of, let me just read the rest of that. So I quite enjoyed it for different reasons. Moves from the quiet country life to join surgical unit of a prestigious hospital. Sean, who is alone in the world and unable to personally connect with those around him, uses his extraordinary medical abilities to save lives and challenge his colleagues' skepticism. Yeah, so what do I want? I don't think we even want to watch anything. Let me see. Good Doctor official trailer. Okay, let's just watch a little.
I met Sean Murphy when he was 14 years old.
Sean! Just act like a normal human being.
He was, and he still is, an extraordinary young man.
Autism. Difficulty in communicating.
He's high functioning. He's capable of living on his own.
Difficulty in using language and abstract concepts. Does it sound?
I think I'll stop there. But anyways, I found it kind of interesting. I will tell you that medically, I don't think it's that great. It's great for conversation though. And I actually want to look into more about what the autistic, because I do think it's quite but at the same time, I love creations. Like there's a lot of cool things that are demonstrated in there. His savant, like I think I've always been kind of intrigued by the idea of the idiot savant, they call it. Like I won't try to spoil it for you, but I enjoyed that. But a better show medically was Transplant. It's a Canadian medical one. It was called Transplant, I think on Netflix. But then at some point they stopped, like they didn't show all of them. So my son and I were both watching it together. We took a point of watching it together, lots of good discussion. It was really fast. Like I just watched the spiraling up. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing for a sec. The spiraling up of, how much more expanded even our creations. I know some people feel really like they don't want to watch anything on TV or movies, but I do. And I work with it. Like I find it helps me to do energetic work and do transmutation work and take notice of things. And even just like, okay, where's the collective? And when something's really popular, just be taking it in as data, like awareness. Oh, people are really, how many medical shows are they? I remember I would never watch the medical shows like Grey's Anatomy, I think was really popular. I'm like, ugh. Like I was a doctor at the time. I'm like, no, the last thing I'm gonna do after coming home being a doctor is watch that frickin' show. So now I'm watching Transplant, The Good Doctor. I know my friend told me she really liked The Good Resident. Oh, and I really liked Amsterdam, Great Amsterdam or something. It was on Netflix and they kind of shone a light at some of the social issues. So actually, I think there's pluses and minuses to anything we ever do. But when someone is a creator of something, they are inspired to do it somehow. Like the remedies are delivered. And I think that's one of the ways remedies are delivered for the collective, if we can shine a light. So I know when I put attention on something, I do something with it. I do in a multidimensional, non-physical way. And so it's kind of cool when you start noticing, becoming consciously aware of the results of that attention. So that's coming up in a surprising way. Ooh, we're getting a little bit long. Let's see, what else did I want to say about that? Let me just see what else I had lined up for us today. Start page. What am I doing here? Oh yeah, I already did all that. So I just wanted to show you that as I watch videos, I made this new list that's just private for me. So here I put on boom, boom. I watched 15 minutes worth of video and here I am now talking an hour and a half because these two were acted as the seed, like back to back. I watched this one with my half cigarette in the morning. I watched this one after a great deep conversation with my son, and I couldn't believe how the timing of it, just boom, boom, like jab, jab. I'm like, okay, I'm doing a video today, because I honestly woke up not knowing I was doing a video today. But let's just take a look at this fun little list I have. True stories. So like faithfulness in fairy tales, Charles Eisenstein. Permission slips are the key to unlocking your dreams. Okay, well, let's take a peeky poo at that since we've already heard from Ray today. Let's just see.
Ever wonder how your brain, consciousness, and the universe work together? You're already familiar with things like manifestation, reality surfing, fake it till you make it, spontaneous healing, The Secret, and many other ways that we create our own reality. So today I'd like to talk about the phrase permission slips, which
I love that phrase, permission slips. And I think anyone who's familiar with Bashar's work might recognize, he kind of put it on the map for me. And I actually really, okay, do I need to listen to any more? No, it's just about permission slips. So anyways, I will link this video for your, I won't watch it with you. I think we've done quite a bit of that today already. But yeah, permission slips are the key to unlocking your dreams. I think I would just say that, what will I like to say about that? To kind of put it in a nutshell right now. If you believe yourself to be a limited being and don't know your fullness, you actually feel like you need a permission slip. And I mean, even literally, I remember wanting to consciously uncouple and feeling I needed to get permission from him, like he kind of did, like, you kind of have to agree. But anyways, like permission slips, the idea. Okay, well, I'll give you a fun little example from my own life that I've never, this is just coming from my direct observation. No one ever said this in my ear, but I went to Brazil in October 2014. I was attending a psychologist was doing a health care provider tour of how they treat mental illness in Brazil. So we got exposed to mediumship and some energy work that they do. And then, Brazil has an interesting context. Remember, context. I was pretty inspired with what I learned and saw and experienced there, because it's really common in Brazil where they might be religious, but they'll also go to psychic mediums and energy workers. Like, it's just beautifully, I'm just realizing in this moment, isn't that interesting? It's just woven together and it's just so natural. Nobody judges it. You could be a Catholic person and you go see the mediums and they do energy passes and energy work on you, do psychic readings. Like, it's all just beautifully woven together like a tapestry. So anyways, the culture and the belief systems were different and they weren't really judging each other. Like, I think here, I don't know how it is now. It doesn't even matter. But anyways, it was quite an interesting experience. So as part of that, I just kind of went to that, and that was amazing enough. Like, there was a hospital there called Katse Euripides. It's a mental health facility, and they literally had mediums that would work with the patients. And I know you might not know what a medium is, but it's someone who's kind of using non-physical energy type work. Number one, they can sort of see where the issues are through their tendril of attention, I guess, like non-visibly, non-physically are aware, okay, there's this, there's that, and then help them along, facilitate their own journey through it. So they had the mediums, and not every medium there, but a number of those mediums were former patients who, part of what can happen, and it can, as your own gifts are coming online, it can be kind of destabilizing and require a little bit of support. But it was a beautiful hospital. They had like a giant, huge gardens, and there were like, they had tortoises. Tortoises were walking around all over the place. I'm like, to me, I took that as a symbol for psychiatrists. They're so, but anyways, the psychiatrist, her name is Dr. Dagmar Ramos. She does share publicly, and okay, well, we'll see if I can throw in a couple things like, yeah. So anyways, that's how I met the Crazy Wise producers, because they were also on that tour and taking interviews with a bunch of us, and some of those got posted on their website. And then whatever they didn't use, they had so much footage. Oh my God, I'm forgetting the name right now of the psychologist who organized all of this. She had a really strong connection to Brazil. It's bothering me that I've forgotten the name, but I have done so. But anyway, she asked for permission to take all the unused footage And so she published a few of me from the footage that they had taken. So actually, I'll dig those up and see if I can. And then I saw it and I thought it was cool. She asked me for my permission and I gave it. And then I didn't know what she was going to do with it, but she did a couple things with it. And then I forgot about it somehow. I think she showed it to me and I like, haha. But I was just so busy and so much data coming in, I couldn't. And then at some point on my Manic Ministrations page, I think someone shared, oh yeah, I saw you here. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot. Like, anyway, I will share some of that stuff in there. What was I getting to? Oh yeah, John of God. So then she said, like, went with the plan and I think I had some extra days at the end and I didn't know what I was going to do. She goes, well, actually, a whole bunch of us are going to go and do to Abidjan, Brazil after the tour. So not all of us that went on that tour went to, but most of us did. So I had a group, I'm like, oh, I'm going to that, sure, what's that? John of God, what? I had never heard of him. So I had never heard of him, like, okay, I'll go. The wind swept me there. I wrote an article called, well, I'll put the article that I wrote while I was on that trip because, or do I look at it? Do I look at it? I'm getting a yes, oh my God. Okay, anyways, I'll just show it to you because yeah, I'm sure we could just take a little looky peeky poo very quickly. And I do know how I'm gonna do that. I'm kind of getting better at this. Okay, when I do this, I notice that I have the chance to go straight to Disabled Angel and I'm going to search it. And what's it called? I can't remember, but let's do list stories. I will find it very easily. List stories. Hello. Hello, bonjour. Did you catch my, okay, there you are. And it is called, I think I write right on there that it's about Brazil. Oh, or did I? I'm just looking for any side notes about it. Oh, here. For richer, for poorer, a story about money, health in Brazil. Allo, bonjour, there it is. Oh, yeah, there's my little La Picnic at the island of La Grande Jatte. You know, this is a Playmobil depiction of an actual Surratt. I have a little tiny print and I put it in my basement bathroom, but I witnessed that piece in its original form is ginormous. It's like 8 feet by 6 or 10 feet by 7 feet or something. It's huge. It's in a museum in Chicago. And when I saw it in person, did I ever get excited? It's like, wow, like I had no idea. I always loved this picture. I don't know why. It's a pointillism. The actual, if it's still there, I think it was in a permanent collection in the museum, Chicago Museum, whichever one. But anyway, he who asks a question is a fool for a minute. He who does not remains a fool forever. Buddha. Well, that's a good one. I'm just going to read the memes. So for richer, for poorer, I share some fun stories there. Oh, let's see. Listen to yourself, Panache Desai. I followed him and I met Panache Desai in person as well down in Arizona. I stayed at the Enchantment Resort in Sedona, Arizona. Very, very good. Okay, so I'm talking about jog, John of God, jog your memory. But anyway, what did I say here? When you ask the optimal question, you get the optimal answer. Beautiful truth, no right and wrong, but some questions are a setup. Biased, lead you further astray. So anyways, I will link this in there. You can read it if you want. Assembly line healing. Oh boy, I could talk a lot about that. When I get old, I don't want people thinking, what a sweet little old lady. I want them saying, oh crap, what's she up to now? But look at this picture here. This is Eric Johansson. Like, your perception of reality can be distorted and it can be a little confusing. I am currently unsupervised. I know it freaks me out too, but the possibilities are endless. Saint Anthony said he sometimes encountered devils who look like angels and angels who look like devils. The saint said you can only tell which is which by the way you feel after the angel has left your company. And that's from Elizabeth Gilbert, Eat, Pray, Love, which I have read. And yeah, and look at, there I am at John of God. I had to buy that dress in Abidjan. There it is. And I'm wearing an amber necklace that I bought at Costco. And there's my nice fancy little sandals that I got at Southgate Mall in a fancy, I think it was called Lord Shoes. Cash is king, cash is king. Anyways, I really had some fun there and I had some pretty unique experiences with money because I spent all, it turned out like they didn't take cards and I'd spent all my cash in Goiânia, which is where they like on my, I really should have done it the other way around. So anyways, I had no money. I had no money and I got to experience what was that for richer, for poorer. And I took the whole experience as an analogy. If you are wealthy beyond measure, and you're not connected to your wealth, then you're as good as a poor man. And I was using that in the sense of spirituality. If you're not connected to your full and wholeness of yourself, then you're going to be a more limited version of yourself, you see? So that was my thinking. But anyways, I had a lot of fun writing this one. And okay, when you focus on problems, you'll have more problems. When you focus on possibilities, you'll have more opportunities. Ooh, David Avocado Wolf, look at that, my friends. That's a good little soundbite. When you focus on problems, you'll have more problems. I mean, you need to be aware of them maybe, but when you focus on possibilities, you'll have more opportunities. Oh, I just love this. Bank line in Hawaii. Yeah, because I was talking about in Brazil, I went to a bank with my lack of money. I tried to get some. Oh my gosh, quite a story. I guess you could read this. This was actually a pretty fun story, and it is a true story. But they had a way, they just had an honor system in Brazil, in, what was it called? Alexandria, Brazil. I got a ride from, anyway, I have a lot of good memories there. There's a battle going on in your mind between the negative and the positive. The one that will win is the one you feed most. I kind of feel a little bit transcended from that concept, but at the same time, it's interesting. Love your imagination. Life shrinks or expands in proportion to one's courage. The perfect world is created when the mind is free to see it. Byron Katie, Byron Katie. Her work, I know so little about it, but she really, the bottom line nutshell of her work, from what I understand, is what I'm believing true? 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 I offer you that question. I think it's an optimal one. Guys, I'm super serious right now. Oh, and in case you don't know Harry Potter, that he played Sirius somebody. Anyway. Oh, look at me. I got a picture of my actual book that I own and still do. I've kept it for anthropological purposes. Harrison's Principle of Internal Medicine, the 13th edition. I wonder what edition they're on now. Have you found Jesus? He's playing hide and seek. Placebos, fast-acting, extra-strength placebos. Better go with these. That's a fun one. If you can't say something nice, say it in French. I like it. It doesn't matter how many resources you have. If you don't know how to use them, it will never be enough. Yeah, so I use this one in multiple ways, like a guy standing on a pile of ladders. Well, obviously, if he could figure a different way to use those ladders, he might be able to see over that wall. But I guess in the deepest, most fundamental way, if you don't know who you truly are and open up the gifts of your true nature, you're going to have a different experience than if you were tapping into that. So that's it. Let's see what bolds I want to read. When we live and let live, the world will know peace. It's about time. You have all the time in the world. I mean that in the biggest way. What is consciousness wisdom? Oh yeah, I had wanted to introduce you to James Blacker. Let's just see. I think this is James Blacker. Oh, the video is not available anymore. Okay, so he went into more different professionals. So, oh yeah, James Blacker speaks to Pernilla Helmerson. So someone took that down. That's a shame. We don't want a quiet mind. We want clarity, bursting with aliveness. Bentinho Massaro. Ooh, there we go. We don't want a quiet mind. We want clarity, bursting with aliveness. We don't want a quiet mind, do we? I know, I like this statement. We want clarity, bursting with aliveness. You want to be vitality. The best way to predict the future is to create it. Every successful woman is herself. Behind every successful woman is herself. Layla Martin of the Sexy Revolution. We are not on probation in this life. Judgment versus assessment. Important to distinguish. This is a former version of myself. Alan Watts said we are not on probation in this life. One person removes choice, a parent often with their child, an employer with his, her employee, etc. Conceptual free will versus conscious free will. Unconscious to conscious is like self-judgment to self-acceptance. Ooh, I like that soundbite. Oh, let's take a little musical break for a minute. I'm giving you all time to crystallize, integrate. Oh. Semi-curious if that's going to get strike or not. I think that's a really beautiful. She's amazing. She even has a movie. She made a movie because she had so much naysayers about her style of playing and dancing. She's maybe not the most talented dancer, but she's a really amazing violin player. And like you try and play a violin and dance, and oh, I love her videos. I could, right? I'm thinking of Round Table Rival. Oh, are we looking up Round Table Rival? Let's just take a little peeky poo. I love it because I see it as a, could just look it up, but it's probably not that hard to find, is it? Oh, it might be. Round Table Rival, sort of the male-female, masculine, feminine tension. Okay, well, let's look up Round Table Rival. There it is. Hello, bonjour. I love this video. Kind of reminds me of that Wonder Woman movie where she said at No Man's Land, nobody's going to do it. I'm going to do it. Here's the girl. She's coming out to attend to the bully. Oh, what's happening? Round Table Rival. I would like to get to some round tables, but I don't want this Round Table Rival shenanigans. Let's just watch a tiny bit more. But oh boy, I love this video. I love this song. It really lights me up. Okay, as much as I'm really enjoying this, I think we'll stop there. Hello, bonjour. Okay, we need to tie this up. I know where are we at? 153. Oh my darling. Woo! Okay, what do I want to do? I want to shrink that down. I did collect some pictures here. Do I want to show any more? Well, let's just show this one. And let's just put this away. And we'll put that down too. Let's just look at this beautiful jewel, multifaceted diamond depiction of a heart shape. And this is, yeah, can you imagine the actual three-dimensional or multi-dimensional version of this? Let's see, what else do we have? Where are we? What am I doing? What am I doing? Oh, geez, I could just keep going, but I'm not sure that that should do. My son was showing me, he bought a whole bunch and has read a couple of them already. He bought 4 different books by C.S. Lewis. So this one's called The Four Loves. And they are the 4 loves: affection, friendship, eros, and charity. I had this one up called Dismantled. Dismantled. How I bought this book and it was years ago and I kind of forgot about it, but yesterday or the last video I was peeking through my bookshelf and was reminded, oh yeah, and this one, How Love and Psychedelics Broke a Clergyman Apart and Put Him Back Together. Is there anything in the table of contents worth Down the Rabbit Hole, Bone to Bone, Falling from Trauma, Falling from Grace, The False Self, The Path of Purification, A Man of Sorrow, When Bad Trips Are Good, Forsaken, Motherless, Wasters of Sorrow. Oh, there's so many chapters. The Politics of Family, Suffering and Forgiveness, A Search for Meaning, There Is Another and I Care. Love of Self, Trust and Trustworthiness, Recruited, The Practice, Bearing Intensity, The Trauma Signature, Healing the Trauma Signature, The Heart Self, Stages of Healing. Ooh, this is chapter 17. And like, I just was reading that, but this is the sub of chapter 17. Healing the Trauma Signature, The Heart Stages, The Heart Self, Stages of Healing. Ooh, this is amazing how this is working out in my mind. Disidentify, number 1. Number 2, mindfulness. Number 3, associate. Number 4, grieve. Ooh, it's gotten so dark. What happened? Ooh, oh, there it is. Ooh. So 1, disidentify. 2, mindfulness. 3, associate. 4, grieve. 5, empathize. Empathize. 6, connect. 7, ritualize. 8, imagine a new ending. Imagine a new ending. Oh, well, I guess that's reminding me. I think a real key thing, I thought my next video was going to be about putting a focus on imagination. Let's just tuck you down. Or how do we do that? Well, let's just leave you right here, but this one. Logic will get you from A to Z. Imagination will get you everywhere. How did I do that? Well, anyways, is that big enough? Oh, what's going on? Logic. Oh, it doesn't really want to get bigger, does it? No. Insight of the day. Logic will get you from A to Z. Imagination will get you everywhere. And that is quoted to Albert Einstein, who lived between 1879 and 1955. He was a well-known physicist from the prior generation, or a prior generation. Logic will get you from A to Z. Imagination will get you everywhere. Okay, I'm just wondering. I had a few other pictures, but boy, it didn't work that good. Okay, well, let's get this one out. What if I just do this? Okay, then it just goes back. Well, that's what we should do. This was one I actually lined up for my last video. Star Trek, The Next Generation. Captain Jean-Luc Picard in season 4, episode 21, The Drumhead. Villains who wear black hats are easy to spot. Villains who twirl their mustaches are easy to spot. Those who clothe themselves in good deeds are well camouflaged. Huh, interesting that I'm sharing that today. Okay, well, I will share one thing. On the 24th, I went to service at Hope City with my son and his father, my parenting partner. Let's get this. And this is the picture I took. As part of the service, they handed out, it was very well performed and orchestrated. And I just couldn't resist taking this picture. There's my hand. You'll recognize me by my double jade bracelets. And there's my youngest son, and there's my parenting partner. There we all are at church together on December 24th at Hope City. And it was really nice, really beautiful service. I hadn't been to church in quite a number of years. And I'm going to go on Thursday again. I was pretty impressed with the place. And, oh, wait a minute. I guess this is the show and tell segment of the situation. I guess, yeah, let's just go there. This won't take long. I pulled this one out. This is me and my best friend in grade 11. We went to, I see the mailman just coming up the drive here. Oh, do you hear that? Boom, we put some mail in there. And we were at a Christian Bible camp, actually, Presbyterian, I think it was. Her dad was a United minister at one time. He immigrated from Japan, went to Chicago, Then he ended up in Edmonton, and he was a professor of religious studies. And I always wanted to take one of his courses. And I was too insecure. I didn't want him. He seemed I had different parents who just loved me, and I didn't feel like I deserved it. I didn't feel worthy. So I literally, one of my regrets in life is, okay, I'm getting kind of teary. I didn't take the course. I could have taken it as an option in my pre-med years. I didn't know who I was. I felt a little bit worthless somehow because I'd respected and loved him so much. I didn't want him to see the real me, but I would have benefited so greatly to take his course. He had a variety of options, and I didn't even seriously look at them because I was too insecure. So there's a regret that I had based on a delusion of worthlessness, as if like this cat would get out of the bag and then he will know that I'm actually just a Yahoo like everybody else. But I am, and we all are. Okay, so that I'm just showing you a little, and here I am just before starting medical school. I've just spent the summer in Quebec City. I'm visiting my friend she lived near Edmonton and was also in the same course I was in Montreal. So we got to know each other, hung out all summer, and now I'm going to her place in Sherwood Park. And there I am. I cut my hair as short as it's ever been in my life, and I really didn't like it. Felt like I looked like a man, but I actually looked not too bad. So then I wore these hair bands until my hair grew out. But so that's how Angèle looked prior to starting medical school. Ooh. And then and then I just love bridges as a symbol. Can I make this bigger? I like bridges as a symbol. We got to cross the bridge to how we are now, to how we will be when we connect to our true nature. Okay, I can't seem to make this bigger. Let's not worry about that. But here's a bold move. I'm going to end this video on a music video called I Am Ready, and it's Nurse Chappelle. So I was so inspired by Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and they have my favorite episode is season 2, episode 9, Subspace Rhapsody. It is delightful. I would love to see it on live theater. But anyway, I decided and realized, hey, I actually have my own Nurse Chappelle costume. So here I am. These are actually the maker Fluvog makes the boots for the Star Trek Next Generation. So I bought both the black ones and the gray ones. But the only reason I bought the gray ones, like, look at that booty. The booty got a little bigger because I've worn those pants in recent years and they didn't always fit that tight. But anyways, and this is a top. It's a one-piece bathing suit from Lululemon that I got on sale and have never worn ever until this day. I sometimes forgot that the tags were on. I took the tags off. I tried it on and realized, hey, I could go up on stage dressed as Nurse Chappelle. This is my version of Nurse Chappelle. I'm not sure how well this is going to show, but maybe that's good enough. Let's just tuck that down. And then I wanted to emphasize the boots, so I took another picture. So the boots, they are the actual ones that you see Nurse Chappelle wearing. So who's Nurse Chappelle? Let me show you, and then we're going to end this video. I can't believe we're at 2 hours, but anyways, I have it all lined up. Take a look at this. I hope I don't get struck for this, but anyways, if I do, you'll see a link. And I love this song, and it really speaks for me. I'm ready. I'm a medical anthropologist of sorts too. In the show, she is a medical anthropologist and medical person anyway, so take a look.
This news really changes everything. A distant dream becoming.
Whoops, I just wanted to make
I convinced myself it wasn't happening, and now I'm surprised how good it feels. I worked so hard for this, and now the fellowship sees me as one of their own.
She got a residency in some kind of medical anthropology thing. So anyways, I love this character, and I want the official costume like she's wearing. If anyone wants to gift that to me, I would be very pleased.
The sky is the limit, my future is infinite, my possibilities are endless. I'm ready. Drinking every second of the joy of success arriving overnight.
Not really.
Not really.
Camera obscura.
Now my canvas is wide as the open horizon. I worked so hard for this, and now the fellowship sees me as one of their own. The sky is the limit, my future is infinite with possibilities. It's freedom, and I like it. My spark has been ignited. If I need to leave you, I won't fight it. I'm ready.
I guess I'll stop there, but oh my God, I love that song and I listen to it quite regularly since I came into contact with it. I think we will stop sharing because I have gone on for 2 hours. Oh, 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 oh. I think this video series is kind of like a course, very authentically delivered course from the comfort of my own home. I really like that. And I think, oh, I forgot to emphasize, this was from Renee Hamilton. It was a gift. It's kind of, I have to ask him a little bit. You can see many different stones are crushed into. I'm assuming this is organite and this beautiful thing. I was wearing it on my last video too. And I'm wearing my thrift store, whatever t-shirt, and my thrift store Lululemon, really funky hoodie. I tend to be wearing hoodies because it's cold. I keep my house cold, and then I realize, okay, when I do videos, I'm going to turn up the temperature to 22 Celsius so that I don't have to wear my hoodie. Because I think I want to show that I'm actually, this is my body. It looks like this. I'm often in my house wearing a hoodie or a sweater or whatever. I don't know, it's a big house. I don't want to, I'm really good at attending to resources. And so I just feel like, I don't know if I want to be heating up a big house if it's just me. And right now my son's out to a movie, but he'll be home. We're making, oh yeah, what are we making for supper tonight? Yakos. I bought ground yak at the Bountiful Market, Farmer's Market. Ground yak that is raised in Alberta. And one thing anyways, I won't go on it. Anyways, I've bought ground yak and I've never tried it before. And I'm going to make yakos, soft tacos with yak for my son and I. So yeah, I better get to it. What time is it? Oh, I still have lots of time. Oh, it's only 10 to 4. Nice. Signing off on December 30th, the new moon. Enjoy the solar weather, everybody. The sun is going, giving us lots of beautiful photonic light and energy. Even if it's cloudy, which it is here today, it can pass through all that, believe it or not. It's such a beautiful time. We are evolving. We really are. Can't wait to start collaborating in a beautiful, fulfilling way and being part of solutions that work for everyone. That's what I dream of. I dream of, and I have an imagination and I use it. Please use your imagination. If you're having trouble with imagination, find someone who listen to other people's perspective and see if there's any inspiration there. But imagination, if you haven't used it for a while, it can be a little bit like the smoke starts coming out of your ears as you start using it. Yeah, so this video was called, what was it called again? Reactions of a Wicked Good Life. Blessings to you all. Signing off.